So you should have done the video on the why, right? I mean, because you figured it out. Simon Sinek talks about it all the time. It's a great subject, right? What's your why?
That's the why.
You had the why. I mean,
the why, and I use that. We would do a national meeting every year, and one of them was the why. And it really, and why are we getting up to do this? And it wasn't, if we help enough kids, the money will be there. And and the other thing too is back to sales. If for enrolling enough student athletes and families, you can afford to give back and do all these things. And that was kind of our big driver. Is like we want to, and when we tell families, we say the reason why this is great is that we're for every kid that we enroll, part of that revenue is going set aside to help make sure we can help kids who can't afford this as well too. And a lot of families like the fact that we did that, because all the good kids are getting put in the same, category together. It wasn't just, the families could afford it, which really, I think, helps our readership and viewership from the college level.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, and I look at it as, when I first met you, it was I saw such a huge value in these kids that are getting scholarships in sports. You don't even know the scholarships are out there for. Women's golf, or back then volleyball, women's golf, things like this. This is when I first met you, and gosh, the opportunities that you actually find for kids are tremendous. Then I have one of my teammates at work. He runs one of our businesses, Brad Wagner. Now Brad's a former Division I football player. He's 6 foot. You know Brad really well. Man, he's your buddy in our office. Yeah. He's 6'6". He's 450 pounds, and he's not a real fat guy. He's just a big mountain of a man. So his kids, of course, are big kids. And so, sure enough, their kids are getting offers and stuff for colleges. And I said, "You got to talk to my buddy Chris." He's like, "Gary, he's got abundance of opportunity. It's not like it's that tough." I said, "Well, you should look into it, because number one, I think they might find a better fit for your boys than not doing it, right?" And Dalton today was one of the highest ranking linemen in the country a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. Went through you guys. They went through you guys for Dalton. He played. He could have gone at almost anywhere, but Arkansas he finds is an amazing fit for him for a lot of reasons. Academically, what he wants to do if he doesn't go in the pros someday, right? But Dalton's 6'9" and 300 and some pounds and fast and smart, and he may go in the NFL. But if he doesn't, they're very confident the education he's getting is the best he could find, and so the fit for them with NCSA was not just where's this athlete going to go, because he's going to go somewhere, right? But what's he going to, where's a college that's going to be a fit for him otherwise beyond football? Exactly. And they found it, and they give you guys credit for that.
Well, that's the thing. It's like you have a once-in-a-lifetime chance of playing sports in college. Mm-hmm. And if you screw it up, you can't go back and do it again. It's not like if you do a driveway, Gary, and you screw it up, you guys can tear it up and you put it down and make it right. Yeah. If you screw up recruiting because you thought your coach was going to do it, or you just kind of let the chips fall where they may, or you end up going to a school that happened to have two All-American linebackers right in front of you for 4 years and you don't get to play. Yeah. When that happens, you can't go back and redo it. The NCAA rules only allow you this one-time chance. So the reality, what we find for most of the families, it's not just getting the scholarship, it's getting the right fit. It's how do you leverage sports to be able to maybe get into the better school, and then how do you make it affordable and negotiate, because not every sport has full rides available. A lot of the sports, in baseball, for instance, they call equivalency sports, where they have 11.7 scholarships available, and you will go as a freshman and maybe you get your books paid for, maybe you walk on, maybe you get 25% or 35%, and then you after a year or two you can maybe earn scholarship dollars. So there's each sport in each level, the game's played a little differently. And a lot of kids think that they're just going to go and play Division I and get a full ride, and the reality is there's 1,700 colleges out there that offer sports. There's almost 700 football programs, and there's 101 or 119 Division I-A programs. So the difference of going and playing at a certain level is these kids start to realize that they're going up against not the kids from Chicago anymore. Yeah, they're going up against the world. Yeah, the colleges recruit from the world, especially in basketball and tennis, and you got kids in South Africa, and you got kids in Great Britain and South America that are all these kids from the Romania, and these kids want scholarships to Spain. Yeah, Nadal.
But the most important thing I see in you guys is that you're digging into the kids' background and what they want to be, even, right? Because most 99.9% aren't going to make their money in the sport that you're getting a scholarship for, right?
Right.
So
if they do, they're going to be done in 3.2 years on average, and then they're going to be asking you for a job or us for a job, because I think we have about 55 former NFL guys that work for us now.
Wow.
And they're able to share their story.
It seems like in next college student athlete, the most important word in that is student. I mean, it's not necessarily college athlete. It's not next because everything you said is not about, like you said it about Dalton. It's not necessarily you getting into the school because you're that good, you're going to get it, but it's really getting into the right school after. From that perspective, I think that gives you all a niche.
Yeah, we don't even look at getting into the right school. We look at graduating with a meaningful degree,
right?
Because it's a lot of kids get into school and they graduate and they get a degree in some major that isn't really going to help them get a job, and when they just got used.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot. A lot of these kids, they go in and they major in recreational studies or whatever, and now what are you going to do with that?
Right.
In terms of getting a career. So the thing that we really focus on is letting them know that this athletic experience is going to set them apart from 93% of every other college graduate. And if you can take the lessons you learn from sports and use that in your interview, put it on your resume, it really, I've in my book, Athletes Wanted, one of the things I talk about in there is a survey I did with CEOs like you, Gary. I surveyed almost 1,000 CEOs, and one of the questions I asked would you rather have a C+ kid who played 4 years of college sports, or would you rather have a straight A kid who never did any extracurricular activities? And it was like 99% of the CEOs said, give me the athlete, because I know the kid is a hard worker, time management, they know how to win, they know how to lose, they're going to grind, they're going to set goals, and they're going to be competitive. And so not enough kids, I think, go into the job market knowing that they do have a competitive advantage. So one of the things we talk about is teaching them how to use that sports experience in helping them get their first job and second job, and how do you bring that leadership mentality to your corporate culture wherever you go. And if they're looking for a corporate culture that really rewards that, find an employer that's going to appreciate that, because if you don't appreciate that, it might not be a place you want to work.
How about that word, athleadership, huh, Q? Is that cool or what?
That's amazing.
Explains it all in one word, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool. Second, when you told me about that years ago, I thought, man, that's awesome. That's brilliant. To use that
athleadership,
because I like the idea. Right, I just was a high school football player, wrestler, but I definitely, in that short career up to my graduating high school, that short career of sports really gave me some identity in how to lead a team, right, and how to be part of a team, how to play within a team, and then actually be a leader on a team. So it means a lot more than most people think, in my opinion. I look at our best people on our team at work, and there's people that aren't athletes, right, but they probably had to work hard at something if they rise above the rest. And sports is just a place where you got to do it if you're gonna win. You're gonna have to work a little harder than otherwise.
And that was the fun thing when I shared the 2012 vision with the team. And I think we had 50 employees at the time, but everyone got behind it. And it really kind of went through this transformative culture that we built. And I've been blessed to be around championship winning coaches. A lady named Sue Inquist, who won 10 titles at UCLA for women's softball. She's become a close friend of mine, and I was able to learn a lot from her. And as to see the parallels of the culture of these winning teams, the John Wooden type UCLA teams, who she learned from John Wooden. So these are the things she learned from, and one of the things she always would share with me would be the 5 aspects of a championship culture, and making sure we bake that in here. And that was number 1. You know where you're going. Number 1. Number 2, you know how you're going to get there. Number 3 is your job. What's your role on the team? What is your job, and are you going to do that to the best? And what does success look at your job? Number 4 is making it a safe place to fail. If you fail fast, and everyone's got your back. Yeah. And if it's a safe place to fail, people are going to go for making plays, and not be embarrassed if they don't get it.
They're going to be okay falling down. They're not going to like it, but they'll feel okay that they got support. Somebody's going to pick them up.
They're going to get back up quick, and everybody's going to brush them off, and they're going to get back after it. And the last thing is have fun. Make it fun. If you're going through life, why do you want to work at a place that's not fun? I mean, at least you can have some fun, make it competitive, have some fun. So those 5 aspects of a championship culture are something that we really started, we were doing already, but really to kind of crystallize that and really work on vision. And that 2012 plan turned into, when we got to 25, 30 million, we were already almost at 50, and it was 2010. So we made a 2020 plan at that point. So the idea of really knowing where you're going, writing it down, sharing it with the team, and now you have accountability. It's like I say, I said we're going here, gang. Right. And every year I had to stand up in front of everybody and say, wait a minute, we did there, but we actually went further, and we went further, and it was exciting to see every year that we'd hold ourselves accountable. We weren't a corporate. I see some corporate cultures where the CEOs and the board, they all hide and everyone works and they don't know where everyone's going, and it's just like, are you kidding me? How can you guys run a business when no one knows where you're going?
Right.
Everyone knows where we're going. Everyone knows exactly what success is. Every day we have a map, and if it's a top 10 performers, we reward our team with accolades. If it's a meeting set, what are our leading indicators?
The metrics are so important, right? To measure success, or good day or bad day. It's that simple. If you can measure a good day and you measure a bad day, and everybody on the team knows what a good day and bad day is, you're going to succeed, because nobody wants to go to work and have a bad day.
Yeah.
Let the team down, let the company down, let their customers down, right?
That's the thing, is people will work harder to not let a teammate down than they'll work for themselves.
Absolutely.
And when you start competing and everyone's in it together, it's like, you know what, I'm having a tough day, but heck, Gary, we can get this goal. Let's get after it. Yeah. And all of a sudden, the guy next to him, it rubs off. It's contagious.
So I got to tell you, so Chris, always in these business forums, the CEO forums I'm in with Chris. I've been in with Chris for a long time, but not long enough. I want another 20 years with this guy, and he's a California boy now, so he's got to fly back to be in our forum nowadays. But I'll never forget, and we'll always look back on an annual basis to see that Chris do this. But ever since I've known him, he's had personal goals and a game plan. What has been? Was it been 1, 3, 10 years out, or what's it been usually? How do you do?
Usually one, it's weekly, monthly, quarterly, but then I have 1, 3, 5, and 15.
So I'll never forget Chris, and you're probably 40 maybe or something like that, and we became really good friends at this point, and one of my best friends still today, and always will be. But I'll never forget this guy, 40-year-old guy, in this business that's relatively small at the time, 15 million, whatever it was, 10, 12, $15 million business. And he's got this plan all laid out. He said, you know what? He could tell you where he came up with the love for surfing, because he wasn't a surfer yet, but he had a vision of building the business to this size. Then I'm going to replace myself, and I'm moving to California, maybe full time, maybe just half the year. I'm gonna surf every day I'm there, though. I'm gonna surf every day. We're like, wait a minute, you're a Chicago guy. What are you talking about, right? And sure enough, he hit his goals, exceeded his goals. And what does he do today? He surfs out in California and moved out there with his family, and he's got this awesome life because he planned, right? I mean, I don't know if you know the number that I've heard, all different numbers, but basically the number I remember is only like 5% of the population actually has real planning for themselves personally or career-wise, right? Only like 5%. But yet if you ask people that feel they're successful and have had success in business and life, 95% of them say they had a plan.
Right.
And I mean, it seems simple, but for us to have the diligence to do that isn't always. We're not all that wired that way, right? Chris, you've been that wired, and that's always impressed me and everybody around you. And I actually am more planned because of you. Because I go home to my wife, Cheryl, this plan that Chris has, it's amazing, it's awesome. We got to do more of this planning, honey, right? So she said, I like that. So sure enough, we laid out plans for ourselves because of your plan. And in business, I always kind of planned, but probably more accurately and more methodically after getting to know Chris, right? So that's how that kind of this stuff rubs off, right?
Yeah. Well,
so
it's
tell us where you got that. Anyway.
Well, it's interesting. It's like I started with the business plan, this 2012 plan that I really put my heart and soul into, and I saw after 4 or 5 years into it, we were knocking out of the park, and I'm like, I'm spending all this time on this business plan and having success. Why am I not doing it in my personal life? Mm-hmm. And so I really started to take that same approach into to where do I want to be in 10, 15, 20 years, and then backwards engineer what my life is going to look like. What do I want my kids to look like? What do I want where do I want to spend my time with my parents and my sister and my nephews and my friends, and what type of activities? Where do I want to travel to? And really to be able to take that 2012 plan and start to say, okay, I only have so many years with these kids, so I better, next thing I know, they're going to be going off to college, or they're going to be 14, 15 years old. They're going to be with their buddies. They're not going to care about dad anymore. So I figured I better map out, each summer what we're going to do. And, literally we just got back to Chicago with, Laura and I and the kids. And we said, what do you guys want to do? And and we mapped, literally to go to Topo Gigio's for Italian dinner. We're going to, go down to, Nike Town and do some shopping and go see some of our friends and come to NCSA. So we were able to actually get a few, checks off the box just today alone. I get to see Gary. I get to do some cool things for work, and my son gets to come join us and see his old man and how he is in taking care of business with.
So it seems like you got the 5 aspects of champion culture in your family life too, man.
Trying to. That's trying to, and really, faith. My father passed just a couple of months ago, and I had a chance to do his eulogy, and it really made me reflect. And it was the blessings that he's given me and my mom, and we're married for 56 years. And
wow.
I'm like, God, these guys, faith, go to church, love, take care of your family, and love life. I mean, my father, really, my mother, they made the most of the time they had together, and we were constantly on the move, and it was a lot of work, but the memories they've created. So my full-time job now, besides being on the board here with NCSA and as an owner now, and helping mentor our young leaders, Lisa and Isel and the leadership team. That's my legacy is the leaders that I'm helping try to help grow, and my kids. So do a YPO trip with my son. We were able to do the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families with my son, and now he's got his own mission statement together.
All right,
and which is really cool. I was like, God, if I was able to do what I know now at his age, I'm like, he's going to be so far ahead of me. And by the time he's in college, I mean, because I'm learning all these lessons and just being the sponge and trying to suck all this information in. And I'm like, what do you think, Christopher? And he's like, oh, this is awesome. And he's reading Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, and he's like, he wants to be an entrepreneur. So I'm like, in fact, he said, Dad, can I come to this to see Ditch Digger and see Mr. Rabine? And he's got an interest in it. So I'm like, what can I do to foster his interest? And whatever he wants to do is exciting.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, and you kind of talked you talked about your dad. You talked about a couple of people throughout this whole podcast who that you idolize or that made you who you are. Mentorship, it seems like it's extremely important to you. Will probably be some things when it comes to mentorship today that you see needs to be implemented, ingrained, that you actually, do for other people.
Well, there are so many people that have given me the time to help form my beliefs and to give me confidence. I mean, from my high school coaches, Mike Coleman, who is I love that man. I still keep in touch with him to this day, and he was always believing in me and in helping me train extra and work out and do things, and he made me believe that I could go on to play in college. To my mom and dad, my grandparents, and then the friends, and just trying to surround myself with people who uplift me. Christopher's godfather, Tom Thayer, who's a local guy who played for the Bears a long time, and he's a kind of guy that helps keep me accountable and keeps Christopher accountable, and knowing that there's a lot of people that when he makes a decision that are watching him and pulling for him, and hopefully that positive peer pressure for him and for me, knowing that there's a lot of people I represent that are counting on me to do the right thing here at NCSA, and my family's counting on me. So the whole idea of mentorship, I think it can be incredible if you surround yourself with the right people, and you go out and find people who make you feel better and who you want to learn from and take it seriously. And I think it's not enough conduit to good mentors. It's challenging, but I think if you want to be mentored, there's enough people out there who want to help you. And but it really becomes the responsibility of the person who wants it. Mm-hmm. When I was in college, there wasn't an internship lined up, so I actually went and attended a seminar where these companies were kind of giving their pitch on what they were doing to hire people. I went to that same seminar and sought out Bill Halbert, and I said, Dr. Bill, I raised my hand in the middle of the meeting. I said, do you take interns? And he goes, well, it depends. How much does it cost? I said, it's free. He said, see me afterwards. So I was like, started the internship, but I had to get up and take the responsibility and the initiative to do it. And I think not enough people maybe have the confidence or encouraged to. I think we have to, society, people think things need to be handed to you and you got to do, but I think in our society, if you want it, it's there for you. You got to stand up and ask for it. And the worst thing, in sales, the worst thing they could say is no.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Who cares? It's like if that's the worst thing that could happen to you is they say no. Well, who cares? I'll take no's all day long, but I'll find that one yes that's going to help change my life.
Got to have the initiative, right, Chris? And guys look like you and I, we've been turned down many times, right? That's going to happen. That's a good thing. If we were pretty like Quentin, right?
Yeah.
We wouldn't know what being turned down would be like, right?
That's right.
But because we've got turned down at a young age many times, we
got
used to it.
That's right.
And no, but seriously, I think you hit a perfect point. I mean, you really have to be ready to expect to be turned down, asking for the mentor you want in your life, whoever they are, right? I don't care if it's Bill Gates.
Right.
Go for Bill Gates if that's the guy that you want to be mentored by. He's probably going to say no, most likely, but that's okay. Then who's the next Bill Gates? Right. And
the thing is, you think about it, you graduate from college and you build your resume, and then you try to call Bill Gates, and he's going to say, sure, everyone that's graduating from college who wants to come work at Microsoft wants to talk to Bill Gates. But what if you're in 8th grade and you want to maybe become the next Bill Gates, and you reach out and write a letter and call Bill Gates? I bet you there's a good chance he's going to respond.
Not a lot of 8th graders,
but the idea is everyone waits till the time where you say you're supposed to. But one thing at this internship program that I did at Vanderbilt was like, when I went to Arthur Andersen, before they blew up, that was a big consulting company. In my junior year, I actually went to Andersen and I said, listen, I'm really interested in working for you guys. And they're like, well, send your resume when and you graduated. They said, no, I'm still in college. And they're like, what? You're still in college and you're coming to try to get a job? The people, same thing when I took the same lessons from our recruitment. When I picked up the phone and I called Coach Schembeck when I say, Coach, I'm really interested in Michigan, and I'm still, are you still looking for a linebacker? And he go, really, Chris? Or like the fact that I personally, it wasn't my dad calling, it wasn't my grandpa, it wasn't my mom, it was my coach. The fact that I called as a junior or senior in high school, almost everybody called me back, because I think it's a rare thing for people to actually take the initiative. So when someone does take the initiative, for me, it's like I give my cards out to hundreds of kids, and I go talk at events, and every once in a while someone will call me, and I'll go out. I'll take that kid. We'll go to lunch, and we'll strike up a friendship. Sure. But of the hundreds of kids, it's like 1% that will even take you up on it. I guarantee you. It's like I'll go there and I'll say, I'll give my cards out to everyone. Say, oh, I want your card, Mr. Krause. Hey, Chris, can I have your card? Yeah, I hand out 50 cards, and I'll turn to them. And I said, I won't hear from any of them. And no one calls me. No one calls, no one emails, no one follows up.
And that's what Q and I find this out all the time. We figure this out all the time, right? He's got, true mentors. He's doing an amazing job with it. And gosh, if I was a young guy in my business doing $1 million, $2 million a year in revenues, $5 million in revenues, this would have been an amazing place for me to go for very inexpensively, really cheap, because the mentees don't pay too much for it, to get the type of mentorship they can get by dozens and dozens of leaders, right? And yet, and it's growing. He's got a lot of great kids and a lot of great people that are involved, and they're very proactive mentees. But boy, there should be a lot more. There should be 10 times that, because the opportunities for these young people in business is amazing when they have great people around them that want to actually give back, like you will, like I will, like many of us do.
And one thing I'm realizing, just from an observation aspect, and it was funny. We always talk about it at within True Mentors, the junior board, even the board of directors who helps out. And it's, actually we have some YPOers that are, which we really appreciate, that are, board directors and people who started businesses and doing extremely well.
Some of your good buddies.
Yeah.
Chris Kraus,
and
eventually. But
exactly. I'm coming after you. Say I'm going to be proactive. I guarantee it.
Eddie Zeman, Eddie Z is amazing guy.
I welcome
Eddie Zeman's awesome.
And then we got like Dean Vicka, things of that sort. Then we have all the that's definitely on the verge of YPO. But one of the things I always say is that there's a difference between being an entrepreneur and a wantrepreneur.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the word. Maybe that's the word.
I like it.
Maybe that's the
word.
But it's true. A lot of people want to, but they're not really willing to put forth the sweat equity to do it because they have that sense of entitlement. And it's unfortunate because that's the one thing that stops the success that you're actually getting.
Right.
Actually, you just kind of talked about it, which is pretty key. From that point.
I'm going to get that trademark before you do.
So let me ask, what's next for NCSA? What's next for you and your family, since you're so good with goals and things of that sort?
I guarantee he's got some goals.
I'm pretty sure.
Guarantee
Let's talk about that.
Well, there's a number of things, but on the business side, what's really exciting is there's 100,000 student athletes that we have in college right now, who we've built relationships with, who are going to be entering the workforce here in the next few years. And my 2.0 version is to help empower those kids to get linked up with great entrepreneurial, leadership-driven companies through internships and practicum. So I have a program that we're doing at Vanderbilt right now. We have over 100 student athletes that are doing internships in Nashville right now. That's kind of the model for it. And there's a great need for it, and there's a great desire for it. Companies all want to hire athletes, but they really don't have an easy way to find out where these athletes are. And we just happen to have the largest database on the planet of student athletes that we've already built relationships with, who, going through recruiting is like going through an interview process.
Mm-hmm.
And if they are able to take the same things that we teach them through NCSA and how to go through recruitment and build their athletic resume, well, we flip that into their professional resume, teach them how to speak, teach them how to identify a company that has the core values that they have, and start building a career. So that's my big passion, is to continue on and help deliver value to these student athletes and show companies how you can hire on core values and hire athletes, and how that can transform a corporate culture. So we invite people to come to NCSA and take a look at what happens if you put 700 former athletes together, show them where they're going, give them a vision, and see how a company can really take off when you have a clear vision. You teach them where we're going. You teach them their role, what success looks like. You make a safe place for them to succeed or fail fast, and have some fun.
Right.
So I think that we have a great opportunity to help maybe show people how to take their corporate cultures to another level by recruiting athletes.
What's exciting with that, Chris, is ever since I've been around your business, and we have meetings in your offices and all that, so I got to see the progression of a small office with a couple dozen people, maybe 50 people, whatever it was at the time I first met you, and now what you have today. But it's always been exciting to be around your teams, because they're always celebrating, they're always having a great time, landing these scholarships for kids. What could be better than that? But you have the pilot of what you want, of what could be next. Yes. You have the pilot of what everybody would want: a celebratory, team environment by team players, right?
Right.
That you can then building an industry outside yours, right? With the recruiting business you're talking about right now. So, man, we talked. You've been dreaming of this for a little while, and it's a no-brainer. It is a no-brainer that will be a success. So that's fun.
It's exciting.
So when you think about all this, Chris, and you've built the American dream here, and we love talking about about the American dream and the access we have here like no other country in the world. What's your feeling on that, and what you've built, what you look back and how fun it's been, but how challenging? Could you have done it just anywhere in the world, or tell me about this?
Well, I just got back from a trip with my wife to Europe, and we were in London. We went to Wimbledon, but to see the opposite side of capitalism and to see more socialistic type scenarios where people were inherited everything and you were either born into to wealth or you were born into poverty, and that was your cast and your lot in life, and you lived your life either being a cobbler or being a farmer or being a royal. Mm-hmm. and to see what our forefathers had the foresight to be able to see the opportunity to create a new society where you could be whoever you want to be, and for us to live in this time. I mean, I just wake up every morning and thank God that this is the time. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now, in this beautiful country, helping athletes go to college, spending, raising your kids in a place where you can practice the religion you want to practice. You want to learn where you want to learn, traveling to where you want to travel to, unencumbered, and knowing that you can be who you want to be, and not have anything pressed on you that you have to be someone or something you're not. I think traveling does that for you. That's why I'm hopefully I'm able to take my kids out of the country and they go to Cuba. I think go to Cuba and see what socialism really looks like, and see people that you're a brain surgeon and you're getting you're getting paid the same amount of the guy who doesn't want to show up to wash dishes. Yeah. And you wonder why that system fails.
Right.
There's nothing's being rewarded. Now granted, it's not perfect, but it's where else would you rather be?
How's that brain surgeon going to be inspired to be as good as the brain surgeons in America, making him a couple $1 million a year, right?
Right.
When he's getting the same as a dishwasher.
Yeah, and he's still waiting in line for bread, just like the guy who doesn't want to show up and wash dishes. Is reality, and it's exciting, and it's and it's an opportunity for leaders to step up. That's like Big Jim used to say, because we're leaders. We need more leaders, and that's one of the things we measure leadership on at NCSA. And I measure my own leadership is how many other leaders you're uplifting. How many every month we say how many people got a promotion here at NCSA.
Sure.
And we measure that. How many people have more responsibility? How many people have more people that they're responsible for? And every time we see 50 people every month that we recognize, that tells me leadership is happening, because it's not about it's not about the me, it's about the we.
Yeah.
And the more, I can, look at Lisa and Izell and our team and cheer for them and give them my experience here and see them grow. They're growing this thing bigger and better than I ever could. And I love it. I can just cheer for them. Really,
a leader is one that inspires others to be better than they could be without them, right?
Yeah.
Better than what they could be without them. And think about the amount of people you can look around and say, man, you probably had, and I know you're not a guy who says I had a lot to do with that, but boy, you had a lot to do with a lot of leaders, bud, and you're continuing to do that. So how cool is that, right? Just like your dad left a great legacy behind him, and the example he was, right? You're going to do the same thing, and you're going to continue to. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Yeah.
Put leadership on my tombstone, maybe.
You're going to have like 10 other terms before that. You're going to find one maybe even better somewhere. But that is an excellent one, actually. But hey, I want to get Christopher in here for just a second. Christopher, I want you to put the headphones on. Pull your dad out of here for a minute. I want a couple of questions here to throw at you. So Christopher, how old are you now?
I'm 11 now.
11 years old. You look a lot like your dad, but you're a lot better looking. You're not going to get turned down as much as your dad and I probably. Yeah, but that's a good thing. But you still got to be ready for being turned down, right? So what's tell us about you got any goals right now? And as 11-year-old young man, any kind of goals you got in your life at all?
Not really. I want to play football next year.
Yeah, next year?
Yeah.
What position?
Last year, the year before last year, I played center. So center, I think.
All right. So what's it like having a dad that you get to surf with and hang out with and go to church with and all that?
It's really cool because he can teach me all the things that he learned, like in his way older years. With me and at such a young age, I think I'm going to be really successful because of his tips and tricks and all that.
That is really neat, right? For a young guy like you, because a lot of fathers can't spend that, didn't plan really, really well to be able to spend the quality time your dad could spend with you, right?
Yeah.
So that's really neat when you if you can learn to plan like your dad, you could do the same thing sometime, right? And when you get older and you have kids, you'd be able to spend all the time you want with them if you plan properly, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite sport?
I really like basketball.
Yeah. All right.
I think I like basketball because I played it for like a really long time. I remember playing it at ICSJ over here, like being 5 and not understanding anything, and Dad taking the time to coach me.
Cool. I watched you play the guitar, man. I remember when you were like 3 years old playing the guitar. We were at a party at your house, and you were down playing the guitar for people watching. It was really cool. Your dad was just learning to play then.
Yeah.
And he was learning to play because he wanted to play with you, right?
Yeah.
Which is really cool. They still play the guitar?
Yes.
Man, I wish we had a guitar here. You could have played us something. I could have sang. You could have probably played the Ditch Digger song. Huh? Will you do me a favor? Will you learn the Ditch Digger song so next time I see you can play it and I can sing it?
Okay.
You could probably sing it better than me, I know, but I'm sorry. I got to sing it.
All right.
All right, but you can play the guitar and sing. You could do backup vocals with me too. All right.
All right.
Yeah. What about this leadership conference? How many kids your age go to leadership conference? Right. But what was that like? Did you learn anything? Did you have some fun?
It was really fun. I learned a lot about the Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. That was super fun learning about all that. I started kind of using them here. And like during the leadership thing, I started using them. And after the leadership thing, I started using them.
Really? Already?
Yeah.
That's awesome. What did you like the most out of those effective traits?
I really like begin with the end in mind.
That's important.
Man, it's just what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's what your dad's talking about here. You know all 7? You don't know all 7. No, there's no way.
Probably know 6.
What do you know?
I know be proactive, begin with the end in mind, put first things first, seek first to understand, then to seek first to think win-win, seek first to understand, then to be understood, synergize, and sharpen the saw.
Well, that's 7.
That's all 7, baby.
7.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, I do have to ask a question. You know, I know you stay in California, but if you can be anywhere, where would that be? If you could be in any city, where would you?
As far as where you live.
As far as where you live, where would that be?
Either Chicago or New York.
Oh, wait, no oars. Chicago.
Chicago.
Bring him home, Chris. Bring him back here, Chris. You know that's abusive, isn't it? Him taking out there the surf and the sun and all that stuff.
Eat seafood.
I mean, come on. Where's the change in weather? Like gloomy and rainy and snowy and slushy. Where's the you don't have any of that out there. No. Come on, Dad. Get him back here now. Yeah, we're gonna have to work on that now that we got you on our side, Christopher.
Mm-hmm.
You know that. What else you got for him, Q? This is awesome.
Yeah, this was amazing, man.
11-year-old kid to have this stuff in his head is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. It's extremely invigorating because I'm actually about to have my first boy. So
yeah, baby.
His name won't be Chris, unfortunately, but to see that, is actually pretty good. At least for me, is to begin with the end in mind. Eventually, that will happen. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate you being here. What else? Anything else you have for these guys?
Man. I have, as always, we got the Quentin True takeaways, and I took a lot from Chris. So I hope you all are ready for this. So one of the first ones, sales is about education and trust. And you broke it down extremely well. Want, need, benefit, then close. Not just try to want and close, because that's not going to work, right? But you said it and you hit it. If you was to add just one quote to that, what you did was, no one will buy from you until they buy you. And that's key. One thing that NCSA does, if you help enough people, the money will be there. So you have that, giving philosophy, and that's really awesome. The 5 aspects of a champion culture. Oh my gosh, know where you're going, show the vision, what's your role, make it a safe place to fail, but more importantly, have fun. And then when you talked about mentorship, mentorship, and we always talk about it all the time, your network equals your net worth, right? So mentorship is incredible when you surround yourself with the right people, not just people, and you said something. I don't know if y'all heard it on his podcast. He gave you all a nugget when it comes to just everything. I'll take no's all day to find that one yes to change your life. Like, that was phenomenal. But to end it all, to top it off, to put the icing on the cake, understand that the best way to measure leadership is how many people are you leading? And remember, it's not about me, it's about we. And when you look at, if you ever had the opportunity to come to the north side of Chicago and you come see NCSA and the fact that they have over 700 teammates, associates, athletes that he has on here, the vision that he grew in a place that was no market cap, basically, right? That's a testament to servant leadership. And Chris, it's just an honor to have this podcast with you, my friend. The legacy you're building every day is definitely going to be here even after you leave, for sure. So it's awesome. It's awesome. And, we appreciate you. And as always, we'll see you on the next, y'all get ready for the next one. But
it's gonna be tough to beat this one, Q. I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough. This is one of the top ones for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But we got, obviously, we're gonna get the CEO of Guaranteed Rate on here too.
Oh, that's right.
We're definitely gonna get that.
Chris's buddy. Chris sits on the board of Guaranteed Rate, don't you?
Yeah. Oh.
You're involved with him, all right? Yeah. You're a good buddy, I know that, and we're gonna get him on here eventually because you promised him.
There we go. But, and again, just be proactive. I'm going to be proactive. I'm reaching out to you because you'll definitely be an amazing mentor for true mentors. So, but anyway, we'll see you all on the next episode of Ditch Diggers CEO.
See ya.